Alright, so here's what we have here. We have a switch that I'm going to look for. Even though I got this one working, uh, I don't trust it. I'm going to see if I have one. I'm thinking I do. It may not be identical, but I think I do. Now this crystal, I want to try to get it clean enough. Where did I put my permanent marker? What do I got to do? Get more markers now? I got to set up a whole new system over here? Okay. Are you set up? Let's see. What are we doing? I don't know what you're doing. What's this? Oh, okay. I'll let you do what you got to do. Well, that's doing that. Hold on a minute. I want to get a marker because I want to pull this crystal, but I want to mark it so I know. Does it make a difference? Yeah, it really shouldn't, but I want to mark it anyway. Hold on a minute. You know, I'm kind of glad that I put this up here because it allows me to work on Coasie stuff, which is right here, which is nice, you know, because she's right around the corner there, and I have everything I need, and I can work on it right here instead of running back and forth all the time. That's not going to work. That doesn't even want to write on the rust. All right, let's plug this in. See what I can come up with. Where are we? Install. All right, let's close this down. We don't need that up there anymore. Now let's see if it does do what it needs to do. Turn that on. Let me get some more flux. Flux. Yeah, so anyway, when I was making this stuff for this stuff here, originally it was going to be a gun oil, and that's what I used it for. And then I would clean my guns, clean them well. I always clean my guns, the ones I use for class, I clean them, but I don't get down nitty gritty with them. So whatever guns I use for classes, if they continue to work, they're a pretty good gun. Anyhow, I was cleaning my guns, and they were clean. You know, when you push the patch through the barrel and nothing comes out on it, it should pretty well clean. And that's after you put the cleaning on it. You know, you run the cleaner, run the patch with a little cleaner, and you're done until basically nothing comes out. Well, then I said, okay, let me put a little oil on the patch and push that through the barrel just to give it a little wiping. And that's what I did. And when I stuck it through the barrel, all the shit that came out, you know, and the barrel was showing clean prior. And then I did everything else that I cleaned thoroughly, and it was still getting crap off it. So I says, you know what, it makes it better cleaner than it does an oil. But it does oil everything at the same time anyway, so that's all I use anymore. Well, I really don't have to, but I should. I put some flux on the connectors here, and I just want to kind of see if I can clean them off a little bit. Now, I could use a cleaner. The cleaner's a little bit more money, however, but the flux will also give me a little bit of help when I want to loosen up the solder. Whoops. We got you caught on there. All right, are we hot enough? We should be. Let's see if I can wiggle wobble this out of here without using any flux. Solder remover. Sometimes you got to add solder to remove the solder. Ah, it's starting to get hot. I knew that was going to happen. I just knew it. a little solder. Let me get a little solder. Not, and I'm not going to, as much as I like Frenchie, and she's always been good with us, her and Julie, both, they left down here, so I actually followed them, or French anyway, to Clinton, which is a half-hour ride. But she keeps, when somebody gets just tunnel vision, well, she keeps pushing this surgery. And I'm going to tell you something. If it was really going to work, it was something I would think about. It's 10 grand. However, I would consider it. However, I wouldn't do it where they're asking me to go. Because I don't believe 10 grand. And they have a reputation of being price gougers. They have 2 locations. Now, here's part of the thing. They're open 24/7. It's an emergency room for animals. But they are a veterinarian as well. Look at that. Look at that crystal. I mean, look at it. It's really, it's not even a crystal anymore. I mean, this is not from me. This is just it falling apart. I'm actually looking at the inside of the crystal. I was hoping I'd be able to see what frequency it is, because I know they're not going to want to tell me. They're going to want to sell me a whole new unit at $250. No, this is what I want to look at. Now there's something there. It's VHF, right? Yeah, it's VHF. So it looks like 8.35, but there's 2 more numbers in front of that. Where's my? Oh, that's flux. We don't want to use that. Right there. That stuff is sticky as all hell. Let's put some of this on there for a minute. So this is where a soft brass brush would come in handy, because you don't want to scrape the numbers off, but you want to get the crap off it. I can't see what the hell that is. I wonder if I can get enough of it off my thumb. No. See, they don't tell you what the frequency is either. They just tell you it's VHF. Well, there's a lot of frequency in there. Now, no, I can't tell what that is. I can't tell what the other part is. Let's look over here for a minute and see what we come up with. I don't know how this thing worked at all, really. Well, it didn't, but I don't know what this operated, but I'm thinking it has a lot to do with it coming and going. I gotta figure out what frequency that is. It's not legible. 3.35. The next one in front of the 3, like blank 3.35, if I knew what that blank was, the first one is going to be a 1, more than likely. It has to be. Well, it doesn't have to be, but that's what it is. But again, if I look at that, which is a companion to this, this says 203.40. That's a big difference. Because this one here is not showing that. Now, it's not telling me that if that's a transmit or what. It's not telling me if that's acting like a small repeater or not. Basically, is this thing transmitting to this on one frequency, it's receiving on that, and it's transmitting on the other frequency. So it's repeating it on a different frequency. Or vice versa. You know, is this thing the actual unit, and this is doing the transmitting to this, and this is transmitting to the 1.35 or the 3.35. So I got to find out a little bit more about that, and I know they're not going to want to tell me. So let's put that crystal. I'll tell you, I don't think you're going to be able to see just how bad this crystal is. Do I got a flashlight in here? No. There's holes in this crystal. Do you see them? Probably not. I may, well, if I do hook up the other camera, that's really not going to help you. But that's in bad shape. All right, let's see if I can get the switch out of this thing. Now this, and this plug. Now, I can make this work with an outboard switch because there is enough room in the case to where I can put a different type of switch in. And the same type of plug, but not board mounted, as the same with the switch. I can put a switch in, but it may not be a board mounted switch, meaning mounted to the board. So we will see. Let's do a little bit more here. At least get the switches off it, see what happens. Again, I got it moving. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's working. I can put a meter on it, but once you start putting voltage on it, and once it has what it has, it can rust right up real quick. I mean, just by it sitting around, it can rust up. I'm not going to be able to save this switch in any way, shape, or form. So the best thing to do with this one is to just try to cut it apart for now and work on it from there. Takes care of that leg. Now these legs that I'm clipping right now are kind of the legs that are holding the whole thing to the board. And once I get these off, you'll see the inner part of the switch because it'll start to fall apart. See if I can rock this back and forth. So many parts so close to it that you gotta watch it. You can't go in there and just start clipping. You may clip something that shouldn't be clipped. And you don't want to just pull either because then you're going to have a problem with that. Yeah? Yeah, I'll put it in for you. Babe, I'll get it. I'll get it. Give me a second. You know what? Hold on a minute. Okay, we got one part off. Let's get this one off. Hopefully. There we go. Okay. Now this one, is that still on there nicey? It is. Okay. So that's good. Let's move that out of the way. Alright, so this is the switch inside. So when this went back and forth, this was down this way. See these little contacts? When those go back and forth, it would switch contacts, center being off, because it was a 3 position, the way that the directions looked, well, the markings on the case, that is.